I never thought I would have to make a decision of do I keep my leg or do I not? I get to the second obstacle, and it is what they call skid mark. It's this inverted wall. I just had a freak accident. I landed all my weight on my right leg on uneven terrain and in mud. So my bones went shooting one way, my foot went shooting the other way, and just mud and debris filled in. I think one of the greatest misconceptions that exist is that there's an end mark, and once you hit that end mark, you're done. And that's not how recovery works. That's not how healing works, right? I kept thinking, even myself, I learned this, that I will eventually get to a point and I'll be fine. This will be behind me. It's not. It's something that's always going to be with me. And, you know, it's a constant evolution of who you are plus your injury. You're never going to be who you were before. I was going into surgery, coming out of surgery, headed right back into surgery right as I was recovering and getting used to it. So it was this constant state of uncertainty, constant state of, well, we've got to do this to move on to the next step, but not knowing what the next step was. So you want to talk about a Frankenstein. There's a piece of my leg, a piece of my back on my leg, and covered by 3 pieces of skin from my thighs. And if you were to ask me if this was possible or what would happen, I would never believe it. So from that point, I ended up thinking everything was good. Come December, I had had 9 surgeries. And next thing I know, come January, I was in excruciating pain. Ended up back in the hospital just to have a checkup with my doctor. And I immediately got admitted for surgery. Infection had set in my ankle. Wherever metal was touching my bones, the bone had died because of the infection. So I ended up losing 6 inches of my fib, about 2/3 the bottom of my tibia, and essentially I have a foot that is not connected to the rest of my leg. How do we do that? So surgery number 10 for me was this thing called an external fixator, which looks like a halo that people wear on their head when they have traumatic neck surgery. I ended up at this lowest point, not knowing what to do, not seeing my way forward, kind of just giving up hope. And I had joined a Facebook group of people who had ankle fusion, which is one of the things that I have. And people had mentioned an exosim. It is this brace that was originally made for the military. So I went to my doctor. I asked him about this brace. He wrote a letter of recommendation. I filled out the application. I get a letter back 2 weeks later saying I've been approved. And it's gonna cost you $9,000 because it's not covered by insurance. I'm not working at this time. Where am I going to get $9,000? So I don't know why, but I started an online fundraiser. Within 2 weeks, I had raised $13,000 from people that I had babysat when I was in high school, from perfect strangers who had not met me but had heard about my story. So here I was with the money, being approved for the brace, and the next step was being sent out to Seattle. I get there, they put a cast on my leg. They end up 2 weeks later making my brace. And I walked into that clinic with crutches. Within 15 minutes, I was outside hiking the woods of Washington. And it was amazing. I was walking. So now that I've kind of started to reclaim who I am, or the new me, the first obstacle was that 5K that I ran, because I never thought I would finish it. So I finally feel like I finished that Tough Mudder that I started 2 years ago. The most important thing for me right now is figuring out a way to give back and to be able to support others who have gone through traumatic injury. And that has taken me down this interesting path of where I'm starting a company and seeing if I can actually make something out of this and go from there.